Definitely we all wish the talking teddy bear like Ted. Who doesn't love Ted? With that childish and adult comedy character? I think no one. In this episode, we are going to talk about Ted, a 2024 miniseries with 7 episodes, created by McFarlane. This miniseries is a prequel for 2 previous Ted movies, and it doesn't show how Ted come alive, but it shows Ted and his owner, or better to say his best friend, John Bennett, during his teenagehood. This miniseries kinda offers a slightly different vibe and the atmosphere that leans into the sitcom. Each episode has completely independent story, but generally the whole story is about teenage problem and their world. This miniseries is about Bennett's family, and Ted is part of this family. A best friend and bad influencer for a 16-year-old boy, John Bennett. He is a sweet teen burdened with typical teen stuff. John's burdens includes bullies at school, awkwardness around the opposite sex, and eagerness for getting high and being cool. He has a family of worker class and they live in 90s. The dad, Matty, is an unreasonable, selfish man.
He said I'm selfish. Oh, shocker.
The mom, Susan, is passive, spacey housewife with some hidden depth. John's cousin, Blair, is a college student and also a drug dealer who lives with his uncle family because her family is completely screwed up. She always offers John life lessons and advices on the bad world ahead. I went for this show with expecting lots of laughs, jokes, and funny sequences, but to be honest, it was kinda like McFarlane's Family Guy live action and not hilarious Ted movies. Of course, there are some funny sequences and jokes, but they are not as much as I expected. And it's mostly about the Bennett's family and not focused on John and Ted. And I think in Ted movies, jokes were unexpected. Something suddenly was said or done that made you laugh. But in Ted show, it's not like that. Jokes are completely expected. You laugh at jokes that you are expecting it. By the way, all episodes are completely funny and interesting. And I did love that episode that Ted believes that he is Jesus. And I enjoyed his conversation with the preacher. It was awesome.
I'm just saying I might be Jesus. I might. I'm not saying for sure. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
The birth of Christ was a heavenly miracle.
I mean, what do you call this?
God sent him to us to spread the word that he loves us.
I love you.
I like twists in films, but it's not gonna work always. For example, in Christmas episode, when Matty's truck comes alive with Matty's wish, I think it was quite lame and awkward. But thanks to the heartfelt subject matters that comes from Blair's side of the story, made this episode still working. It's better to not tell you more about the episodes because you may lose your interest to watch the show. As it sets in 90s, it has lots of nostalgia and cultural mood that made this show really interesting. Each episode is about 40 minutes, which means you can watch the whole show in 4 or 5 hours, which is not a lot. The IMDb rate to this show is 8, Rotten Tomato is 72, and Metacritic is 51. And my rate to this show is again 8 out of 10. This show is not for everyone, but if you enjoy dark humors and jokes that make you shake your head and say, no, they didn't just say that, this show is for you. And maybe more suitable for our generation who had watched the Ted movies and we had lots of funny memories about Ted. But for new generation who haven't watched the Ted movies, maybe it's just be an ordinary show. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please tap the subscribe button, then send it to your friends. If there's any question, any mistake, or any suggestion, please let me know. Love you all. See you soon.